Eternal Offerings, Chinese Ritual Bronzes is an exhibition at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Bronze vessels held great ritual significance in ancient China. Used to make offerings to heavenly and ancestral spirits, these exquisite objects were also symbols of power.
This marvelous exhibition is the result of a very special collaboration between me as curator, Liu Yang, and the artistic film director, Tim Yip, in Hong Kong. I am so proud of this relationship and of the creativity and hard work that has resulted in an imaginative and spectacular exhibition for our visitors. The exhibition is a series of evocations designed to transport people into abstracted environments, conjuring the context in which the bronzes were originally used and the mindset of those who produced them. It encourages visitors to feel the meaning of the objects, to embrace their beauty and power on a more intuitive level. It is a completely contemporary way of experiencing ancient Chinese culture. And, of course, on this immersive journey, we see an impressive array of exquisitely cast bronze vessels and ornaments that reveal the high artistry of Chinese artists who lived some 3,000 years ago.
Eternal Offerings is part of MIA's commitment to innovation and experimentation. Encouraging collaboration is key to shining new light on the museum's collection. And the inclusion of a diversity in voices, perspectives, and lived experiences enriches the ways our visitors experience art.
As the exhibition opened in March of 2023, Liu Yang and Tim Yip discussed the concepts, challenges, and rewards of the project.
Tim, this is a really wonderful show. I'm so happy you could join us for the last 2 weeks to supervise the installation and also to join us for the opening of this wonderful event. So let's have another look of our great collaboration. I'm so happy that this space is now transformed from, very ordinary entrance into a very immersive space that allowed a visitor to start their experience of visiting this exhibition from this spot. This curtain and this pattern on the entrance wall really create this wonderful space that gives a wonderful experience for visitors. Why did you want the experience to start from this spot?
The ideas of immersive experience is to let you get away of all these lousy daily things and then go inside, and we have the music. The music is, we want to try the rhythm of the music that can connect with the pattern, the rhythm of all these patterns from the Song Dynasty.
Well, I think this is a very genius design, because I suggested to use, the ornaments from one of our vessels from Western Zhou, Midwestern Zhou. But you and your team turn it into really very cool pattern. It is a pattern of a bird. However, it looks like it has a futuristic look. I really love this. Okay, let's go into the first room. In this room, we have something that was not in our original plan. Then it suddenly came to you that this is probably a better design. So here, for instance, when you're here supervising the installation, you suggested we should have a mirror in the center of this room. Can you share with us again why you want this mirror here?
Actually, we're starting for the ideas of we're looking for forwards and looking back, so that when we open the tunnel, like this idea, so that we can seeing the both sides. So in the last room, actually, we have the really deep, like a mirror and mirror reflection time frames, and then afterwards, we don't have here before.
Right.
But suddenly, I find that maybe we can happen here, so that we complete the idea of the first room and the last room,
Yes.
and make
So-
it, yeah.
Really, we wanted to have a correspondence between the first room and the last room. Here we have fragments that are reflected in this mirror. But in the last room, when a visitor has finished their journey to the end, they see the group of bronzes that the fragments were based on. They were beautifully placed on this table, and that their reflections repeat infinitively below that mirror on the table. But here, you also see this correspondence. So this room really, we wanted to create a space that transforms a visitor's experience from contemporary life into a world which was dominated by shamanism, by the dominance of the spirits, where there's no boundary between human society and the spirits, so that to really transform a visitor's mood into the time of Bronze Age. I think you really did a great job to present this idea, and you suggested to have this flying curtain with a projection of a film of Yellow River, the cradle of Chinese earlier civilization, and also a birthplace of those rich bronzes. Tell us a little bit about your idea to present this.
When I first come to this museum, I'm really impressed by the room and room connected, so that it's like a tunnel. So that before that, I want to have a gate where you get to go inside the path, and we have choosing the Yellow River to be the beginnings of culture.
I love this room. I think that the design of the cases and the wall painting, and they're all wonderful. But I particularly interested in this huge mirror.
Yep.
That's your great idea. So why did you want to have this huge mirror here?
So I want to make this one even more stronger. So I make a mirror. Because you can see that in this room, you can go every room, they have a pictures, a finished pictures, overlap with 5 rooms. So that this 5 room will be repeating in this mirror. And at this point, we are inside the film.
Right.
We also see ourselves. We also see this infinity combination of every moment of this dynastic.
Can I interpret that as you wanting to use this as a central axis that connects to each gallery through to the end, but you wanted to expand this space, at least visually?
Yeah, and you can see, this the bone, this mirror is also happened in the beginning of the bone and the mirror. So this is a really symbolic space.
You used this central axis in such a genius way to connect each gallery. Each gallery is its own beautiful production, but are connected by theme. This is the temple room that allows the visitor to experience how these bronzes were used in their original context, because those bronzes were really cast for making offerings to ancestral spirits. You designed this room in a very genius way. It is divided into 2 parts. The front part is daylight. You can see that sun shining through the window into the top of the interior architecture, which is painted on this large curtain. Then when a visitor walks into the back of this room, they suddenly realize it is now the night time. It is very interesting that the time transitions with the space.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that we open the temple. So this is it's like a middle space. I want to get into that spiritual area so that I give daylight and nighttime. This means this room we're showing the one who living in this temple, so that they see sunlight, they see nighttime. Because when we are visitor, we just see daytime, we don't see nighttime. But we give a space, and this is dark, and turn to the sky.
This room represents ritual activities, and so we envisioned an earthen altar that was very meaningful to the people of the Bronze Age. On the altar, there's a smoke that was used to communicate with deities and ancestral spirits in heaven. You did a great job in making this happen. I was really concerned how we could make this smoke, because real smoke is not allowed in the museum. But this is really nice. And also this sky. So this oval-shaped sky really look like a heavenly eye. They are watching us.
In the ancient time, they see the sky, they don't know what is it. They have a lot of imagination. So all this sky effect will reflect in all these mythology figures, mythology power, and they believe in it.
Originally, we thought that the bronzes would be only placed just upon the surface of the altar. You suggested to build this platform because that will make this bronzes more elegant, more prestigious, and I think that worked very well.
So when we put this in there and we have all these wooden boards connected, this becomes something even more, the ribbon. We talk about the ribbon all the time. This is a ribbon connecting with everything. Like the mountain, many things connected.
Sometimes I found that some designs were originally a disadvantage, but somehow they turned out to be a great addition to the design. For instance, that light was unavoidable because of the projection to create the smoke. But then, when I stand here and look back, it almost looked like the sun, and the ritual activities occurred during the daylight. So that really turned that disadvantage into an advantage. Yeah. So I like that. Yeah. We are now in this room of banquet, because during the Bronze Age time, offerings made to the ancestral spirits, that kind of ritual activity always ended in the banquet. So the clan, all the family members, they would gather together to enjoy a meal that was prepared for the ancestral spirits. In that way, they communicate with ancestral spirits to bring communal good to the family, to the clan. You did a great job. I really think that to present that kind of immersive experience for this banquet scene. How could you imagine and design this kind of very fancy case?
It's really difficult for the painting wall to have, you see, so natural, because I take the columns in the edge, so that the columns suddenly changing the dimension of two places. It looks like we in a three-dimensional place, and then we are inside a room. The first thing. The second thing is, at that time they don't have so many lighting, of course, so they will have fire, and also they hitting all these things, meat and everything, so that they will become fire. So that I make this fire become a setup. It's like a fire pit.
Fireplace.
Yeah, and then we give the fires and make a symbolic touch and become a case. so that you can see the fire still burning. They are burning on the flame of the fire. It's just a relationship of, at that time, in the nighttime, they have fire for warmth and the fire for, for light.
For cooking.
Yeah, and also for light.
Light plays an important role throughout the exhibition. Lighting design for the show was done by A.J. Weisbard.
Light plays a crucial role in this. The spaces are large, the objects are small. We want to guide our focus to those objects, pull them out, and bring them front and center. The rooms, the spaces, each one to complement the others, to offer different types of inspiration and context. When artists come into a space, it's a collaboration between all the members. The dedicated staff here at MIA, which helped in so many different ways to support this vision. I think that experiencing the works in this way gives the guests a rare experience to be most free in the way that they can encounter the works on display.
Our original plan that this room is dedicated to a kind of moral principle that the ruler of the Western Zhou dynasty enacted to, make people to follow that rule, to know their position in the society. I mean, the fundamental purpose was to maintain that hierarchical order and to maintain that royal line continue forever. That really covered the all spectrum of the life and the society, from dressing, from eating, dining, and to the military practice, to everything really. So we have works in different groups that actually reflected the practice that this principle impacted to the bronze, the art. So I think that you really turn this space into a very lively and a beautiful setting.
The first thing I see is inside the bronze, they have some beauties that it's difficult to tell because you have to really looking at it, really concentrate and really feel it. And then I feel they have lies inside. You see, all the curve is so powerful. Every single silhouette or every pattern, the inside they have ribbon, a really strong ribbon to boom, 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 to build up something. It's from your memory, from your thinking, and from the future looking. So that I think this is so powerful. So that I start to thinking of what is the sound should be. I try to find something. It's like a meditative sounds that we create with content. Sometimes you feel outside, outdoor, sometimes you feel indoor, so that I create all these sounds. And then I think really important thing is the movement. Everything talk to each other.
So Tim, now we are coming to the end of the visitor's journey through altogether 7 galleries, rooms. This is one of my favorites too. So here we have this showcase with a display of a group of 10 works. These are really the most beautiful works from our collection. Here we have those works placed on a mirror. And there's another mirror at the top of the case so that the objects reflect to that. Then bounce down to this mirror to create this infinite reflection. On this huge wall, we have 3D scanning of the bronzes, I thought that this is really wonderful, the contrast that the brought up large image showing all the details, they complement each other.
So these two mirrors creating that kind of infinity length of the time. So then after the whole experience, we know all this, and now we put this into infinity. This beauty will be infinity. So that everything you can touch in, this is like a place of the sky to looking at this thing. This is now there exists. They're being seen. After this experience, we see more than what we have. We see in the detail, with more time to understanding the beauties of everything inside so that they are explored in a really beautiful way.